So, for chapter 1, I chose to play the Beatles in the background. Do you want to know why? Because I like the Beatles. Does it have anything to do with the book? Absolutely not. Chapter 1, Broken Clock is Right Twice a Day. I took a deep breath. I had exited hell for now. Opening my eyes, I could see my ceiling fan spinning ever so slightly. I was laying down on the rug in my apartment. Heather had taught me how to leave Silent Hill. She was so helpful. Her eyes were no longer an olive green, now a deep blue. A blue that transcended reality. A blue that almost glowed in the dark. Just almost. And her hair no longer a dirty blonde, but more of a dirty gray. Her body, once a home for wounds and injuries, was now absolutely covered with tattoos and symbols she had seen from Silent Hill. It suited her, but I knew I couldn't see her in the same light like before. Enough was enough. I picked myself up from the floor, wobbly at first. Heather caught me as I stumbled forward, her face a wave of concern. She had just turned 21 and looked every bit of it. "You have got to stop this, Josh. You're killing yourself," she spoke, concern pouring out of her eyes. She had cheated, and with that being done, she had to be replaced. Her deception was a corrosive poison that insidiously infected the very fabric of our love, systematically destroying the intricate web of trust, intimacy, and affection that had been so painstakingly constructed, leaving in its wake a trail of devastation that forever altered the trajectory of my life, leaving me feeling irreparably tainted. I probably said that wrong. And forever changed by the experience. Getting my bearing together, I got myself dressed and decided to go anywhere that Heather was not. I didn't hate her, but what she did was inexcusable. Time was the healer of all pain. I knew it better than anyone else. Give it anything enough time, and trust me, the pain goes away. Tenfold, dare I say. I was a man on a mission. The mission was to forget everything I knew. I might have been in the land of the living, but I was in a world of my own. The fluorescent lights casted an unflattering glow over the cereal aisle, but they couldn't dim the natural radiance of the woman who had just bumped into me. Her dark hair, though styled simply, framed a face that was both delicate and strong. Her eyes, a deep, captivating brown, held a world of stories untold. Despite the baggy sweatshirt and jeans, her figure was undeniably graceful, a hint of athleticism beneath the casual attire. She had an effortless beauty, a kind of magnetism that drew you into without even trying. "Oh, sorry," she said, her voice a soft melody. "Didn't mean to bump into you." "No worries," I replied, my voice a bit rough from disuse. "Plenty of cereal to go around." She laughed, a sound as light and clear as a bell. "True enough. Though, if anything, you were like me. You probably stand here for 10 minutes trying to decide anyway." I chuckled, feeling a warmth spread through me. "You got me. It's the most important meal of the day, supposedly." "Yeah, well, tell that to my sleep schedule," she said with a weary grin. "I'm Ellie, by the way." "Josh," I replied, feeling a flicker of something I hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. "So Josh," Ellie said, teaming against the shopping carts with an easy grace, "got any big plans for the rest of the day? Besides conquering the breakfast aisle, I mean." Her question caught me off guard. Plans? The concept seemed as foreign as a tropical beach in the middle of the sterile, fluorescent lit supermarket. "Not really," I admitted, running a hand through my hair, just figuring things out. "I mean, where did this woman get her rocks off to be so smooth and charming? You have to have a license for that, a degree for the School of Hard Knocks. Query, this woman was as smooth as eggnog on December 24th. A knowing look crossed Ellie's face, and for a moment I felt seen, like she understood the weight of those words, the uncertainty that clouded my future. "Heavy stuff," she said softly. "Well, if you ever want to talk about it over a coffee or something, feel free to say the word." She pushed her cart past me, then paused and looked back with a painful glint in her eyes. Though fair warning, I'm more of a tea person myself. I couldn't help but smile, Dolly noted. "Tea it is, then." "All right, then," she said with a grin. "I'll be seeing you around, Josh." "Yeah," I replied, my voice carrying a newfound lightness. "See you around, Ellie." As I watched her disappear down the aisle, a spark of warmth ignited within me. Maybe this chance encounter, this brief exchange amidst the cereal boxes was a sign. Maybe, just maybe, things were starting to look up. And maybe, just maybe, I'd buy some damn tea. The cereal aisle and counted, playing on repeat in my mind as I drove home, a tiny flicker of light in the otherwise bleak landscape of my thoughts, Ellie. Her name, her face, her eyes, her body, her easy smile. It was all stark contrast to the storm cloud that had settled over my apartment. I parked the car and trudged up the stairs, the weight of the past few days pressing on me. As I fumbled with my keys, the sound of rustling boxes and muffled curses drifted from inside. Right, Heather. I stepped into the apartment and found her surrounded by half-filled boxes, her normally dull, darkish gray hair pulled back in a messy bun. The sight of her belongings scattered across the floor, the evidence of our shattered life together, sent a fresh wave of pain through me. I knew it hurt her more, but I was allowed to give myself some grace. "Hey," I said softly, my voice catching in my throat. Heather looked up, her eyes rimmed and filled with a mixture of guilt and defiance. "You're back early," she mumbled, avoiding my gaze. "Isn't it funny you'll come across people in your whole life who will take up your entire world, and then the next day they're gone forever, and you're just supposed to be okay with it?" "Yeah," I replied, not sure what else to say. How many times before have I downed my sword and hugged the woman of my nightmares, cheating through that is unforgettable and unforgivable? Not unforgivable, actually. The air hung heavy with unspoken words, with the ghost of what we once had. "I'm almost done," she said, gesturing towards the boxes. "Just a few more things to pack." I nodded, my gaze drifting to a framed photo on the bookshelf. It was a picture of us from happier times, laughing and carefree on a beach vacation. Now it felt like a relic from a distant lifetime. "Josh," Heather began, her voice trembling, I'm so sorry." The apology, though long overdue, did little to smooth the ache in my chest. "I know," I whispered, the words heavy with resignation. A long silence stretched between us, punctured only to be by the rustling of packing tape and the occasional sniffle. Finally, Heather stood up, a box clutched awkwardly in her arms. I'll be out of your hair soon," she said, her voice barely above a whisper. I managed a weak smile. "Take care of yourself, Heather." And with that, she was gone, leaving me alone in the empty shell of what once was our home. The silence that followed was deafening, a stark reminder of everything I had lost. But as I sank on the couch, a single image flickered in my mind. Ellie, her kind words, her gentle smile, the offer of tea and conversation, a tiny seed of hope planted in the midst of despair. The apartment felt strangely hollow, the silence amplified by the lingering scent of Heather's perfume. I sat on the couch, the worn cushions offering little comfort. My mind was a whirlwind of thoughts, each one a sharp shard of pain. Heather's betrayal, the emptiness of the apartment, the looming uncertainty of the future. It all pressed down on me, suffocating me. And then there was Denise, Alyssa's aunt. Her gaunt face, her hollow eyes, the chilling warning that echoed from the depths of Silent Hill. Hell is real. Josh and Alyssa is there. Elisa. My ex. Someone I hadn't thought about in years. Why would our aunt appear to me? Why would she say such a thing? Was it some cruel trick? A figment of my Silent Hill addled imagination? Or was there something more, something sinister lurking beneath the surface? The question swirled in my mind, a vortex of confusion and dread. I buried my face in my hands, trying to shut out the noise, the fear, the overwhelming sense of despair. Just when I thought I might drown in the darkness, a vibration in my pocket startled me. Bzz. I pulled out my phone, the screen illuminating my face with its cool blue light, a text message from Ellie. Hey, it's Ellie from the cereal aisle. Just wanted to make sure you hadn't succumbed to the siren sound of sugary breakfast treats. If you're still up for that tea, let me know. I know a great little place not too far from you. I stared at the message, a wave of warmth washing over me. Ellie, her timing was uncanny, a lifeline thrown into the depths of my despair. Maybe it was just a coincidence, a random act of kindness from a stranger, but in that moment, it felt like something more, a sign, a possibility. My fingers hovered over the keyboard, a hesitant smile forming on my lips. T sounds good, I typed back. Send me the address. As I hit send, a tiny spark of hope flickered within me. Maybe, just maybe, this was the start of something new. A chance to escape the shadows of the past and step into the light. I arrived at the little tea shop a few minutes early, feeling a mix of anticipation and nerves. I was dressed in my usual casual attire, a pair of worn-in jeans and a faded Champion hoodie. I'd opted for comfort over style, a reflection of the chaotic mind that my state of mind is in. When Allie walked in, I almost didn't recognize her. The soft lighting of the tea shop accentuated her features, casting a warm glow on her skin. She wore a short red tank top that hugged her curves perfectly, paired with a pair of jeans that accentuated whatever that word is, her long, lean legs. Her hair, styled in loose waves, framed her face, and her eyes sparkled with a mischievous glint. "Josh," she greeted, her voice a soft melody. "You look different." I chuckled, a little embarrassed. Different how? Like how? Less disheveled? Okay, I said disheveled. That's not how you say it. It's disheveled. So I just had to look that up. Anyway, "Josh," she greeted, her voice a soft melody. "You look different." I chuckled, a little embarrassed. Different how? Like less disheveled? She laughed, her eyes crinkling at the corners. "Something like that. You cleaned up nice." We found a cozy booth by the window and settled in. As we chatted, I found myself relaxing, drawn in her easygoing nature and quick wit. I told her about my job at the hospital, my strange encounter with Alyssa's aunt, and my recent breakup. She listened intently, offering thoughtful responses and occasional words of encouragement. In turn, she shared stories about her work as a mental health specialist focusing on patients with schizophrenia. "It's a challenging field," she admitted, "but it's also incredibly rewarding. Helping people find their way back from the darkness, it's everything to me." I was impressed by her compassion and dedication. "You're a real hero, Ellie." I found it nearly humorous, me calling Ellie a hero. She had no idea. I went across the world to save the president's daughter. I cheated death 3 frickin' times to save Heather from the nightmare that was Silent Hill. She shrugged, a modest smile playing on her lips. "Just doing my job." I could tell she read me like a book. There was something in my eyes that gave way to the man that I was. As the conversation flowed, I couldn't help feel a growing connection with her. There was something about her, a warmth, a kindness that drew me in. As we shared a moment of silence, our eyes met. There was a spark, a recognition, a shared understanding. Slowly, she reached across the table and interlocked her fingers with mine. Staring at our hands that joined as one, she nodded her head, contemplating if this is the thing that some call love. In that moment, time seemed to stand still. The world outside the window faded away, leaving only us, lost in the quiet intimacy of our shared gaze. Ellie's hand, warm and confronting, tightened around mine. A gentle smile played on her lips. "You know, Josh," she began, her soft voice, "I've heard some pretty wild stories in my time, but there's something about the way you talk about Silent Hill. It's different." Her eyes filled with a mix of curiosity and empathy bore into mine. "It's like you are not just recounting a story, you're reliving it. There's a depth, a raw authenticity to your words that's hard to ignore." I was taken aback by her insight. "You really think so?" She nodded, her expression serious. "I do, and I'm curious. I wonder if there might be a more scientific explanation for your experiences." A flicker of concern crossed her face. "I know it might sound strange, but I would like to run a few tests on you, if you're open to it. Just some basic cognitive assessments and maybe a few psychological evaluations." I hesitated for a moment, the memory of my strange encounters with the supernatural still fresh in my mind, but something about Ellie's sincerity reassured me. "Sure," I said finally. "I trust you." She smiled greatly. Thank you, Josh. I promise I won't do anything that would hurt you. What a weird thing to say. Hurt me? As our conversation ended, I learned more about Ellie's own struggles. She revealed that she had too experienced moments of altered reality, hallucinations triggered by my severe panic attacks. It was a shared vulnerability, a secret bond that deepened our connection. It's like my mind creates its own reality, she confided, her voice barely a whisper. A reality where the lines between the real world and the imaginary blur. I listened intently, offering words of comfort and understanding. In that moment, I realized we were two souls scarred by similar experiences, finding solace in each other's company. As the evening drew to a close, I found myself reluctant to say goodbye. The warmth of Ellie's presence, the easy flow of our conversation, had created a haven of peace in the midst of my inner turmoil. I should probably get going, she said, a hint of regret in her voice. I can walk you back, I offered, eager to prolong our time together. That would be lovely, she replied, a soft smile gracing her lips. The walk to her apartment was a comfortable silence, punctured by the occasional shared laughter and stolen glances. The city lights painted the streets in a warm glow, casting long shadows that danced around us. As we reached our doorstep, a sense of anticipation hung in the air. Thank you for tonight, Josh, Ellie said, her eyes shimmering in the dim light. It was really nice. The pleasure was all mine, I replied, my heart pounding in my chest. And then before I could overthink it, I leaned in and kissed her. It was a soft, tentative kiss, a question more than a statement, but Ellie responded with surprising fervor, her arms stretching, reaching up to encircle my neck. When we finally broke apart, she was breathless, her cheeks flushed. Wow, she whispered, her eyes wide with wonder. That was my first kiss. A wave of tenderness washed over me. I'm honored, I said, tucking a stray strand of hair behind her ear. I should go in, she said, her voice barely above a whisper, but I can't wait to see you tomorrow. Me too, I replied, already anticipating our next meeting. We said our goodbyes, and I turned to walk home, my heart filled with a newfound lightness as I plugged in my earphones. The familiar melody of Welcome to My World by Jim Reeves filled my ears. Welcome to my world, Jim crooned. Won't you come on in? The lyrics seemed to echo the sentiment of the evening, the sense of opening up, of inviting someone into the hidden corners of my heart. Miracles, I guess, the song continued, still happen now and then. And as I walked beneath the city lights with Ellie's kiss lingering on my lips, I couldn't help but agree, maybe, just maybe, a miracle had happened tonight. The walk back to my own apartment was a stark contrast to the one I just shared with Ellie. The city lights seemed dimmer, the streets emptier, the silence heavier. The melody of Welcome to My World still echoed in my ears, but the lyrics now carried a bittersweet undertone. Welcome to my world, Jim Reeves sang, built with you in my mind. Built with you in mind. Oops. But who was the you in my world now? Heather was gone, a ghost of love that had vanished as quickly as it had appeared. And Ellie was a new melody, a hopeful tune, and a symphony of uncertainty. As I reached my apartment door, a flash of white caught my eye, a note taped to the wood. Heather's handwriting, my heart sank. Josh, I'm so sorry for everything. I know I messed up, and I don't blame you for hating me. I'm going back to Silent Hill. It's where I belong. If you ever want to see me, you know where to find me. A wave of sadness washed over me, beside her betrayal. Despite the pain she caused, a part of me still cared for her. But I knew deep down that there was no going back. Our world had crumbled, and Silent Hill, with its haunting beauty and lurking darkness, was her escape, her solace. I folded the note and tucked it into my pocket, a reminder of a love lost and a life irrevocably changed. But as I stepped into the empty apartment, my thoughts drifted back to Ellie, her smile, her laughter, the warmth of her hand in mine. Ellie, my future, a new world is waiting to be explored. I pushed Heather's note to the back of my mind. There would be time to process it later, to grieve the loss and come to terms with the past. But tonight, I needed to focus on the present, on the glimmer of hope and that Ellie had ignited in me. I crawled into my bed, the sheets still carrying the faint scent of Heather's perfume. But I closed my eyes. It was Ellie's face that filled my mind, her gentle touch, her kind eyes. Slow down, slow down. The promise of a new beginning. Remind yourself, you're doing this for you. Sleep came easily, a welcome respite from the turmoil of the day. And as I drifted off, I couldn't help but smile. Tomorrow at 10 a.m., a new chapter would begin. A chapter filled with the possibility of healing, of love, of a future I could barely imagine.